Okay.
Okay, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect. So we'll
So
do this. I'll have headphones
yeah,
on my neck, and you have headphones on, and when you speak, you
yeah.
don't hear an echo. All
No,
right. Well,
I mean I don't think so. What is it? Yeah, I mean,
no, it'd be
yeah, I don't think
obvious.
so. Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna turn on QuickTime and I'm gonna do a QuickTime record as well,
Oh,
just so
okay.
we have a backup in case something goes
Oh,
wrong
cool,
here.
cool.
Um,
Nice paintings in the background, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
Awesome colors. Awesome.
I feel like I'm getting close to doing like a new little series from quarantine.
Oh Lord, I
I'm
can
waiting
only
until
imagine, dude.
the people get the $2,000 a month basic income, and then I'm gonna sell them all paintings.
That's right.
It's this economy
I
going.
mean, dude, it's like, what else do people need for their life? You know, it's art. Who needs to eat? You know, food is overrated,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. All right.
It's
Well, okay.
terrible,
I think we
dude.
got
It's
it going.
terrible.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna for mom. I mean, unless you want to do something, I'm just gonna cut beginning, cut end, and send it to her.
yeah.
Um,
Perfect, man. Let's do it raw. Let's like, make some mistakes in 2020.
all right. So I guess we'll just get started, huh? What time? So I guess we'll just start. It's 2 o'clock in California in the afternoon. End of the day there.
It is indeed. It's almost midnight. I mean, you could say it's the end of the day. Yeah, it's almost the next morning. And I'm like, and I was pretty tired, like half an hour ago, but I'm feeling energized again. So I don't know what you did here, but somehow maybe it's the colors in the bit behind your head there, those vertical rainbow cool things that are shaded because they're doing that, color math on me.
Well, well, here we
They're
go
manipulating
doing
me.
the Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And
Yay.
Mom, we thought Shay and I would tell some stories because you like stories. So, Shay, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Well, gosh, in a way, I've just got such a laundry list here. I don't even know where to begin. No, first of all, Mom, happy birthday. I'm not
Mother's
happy
Day.
birthday. Happy Mother's Day. Did I mention I
And
was
happy
tired?
birthday. What the hell?
You know,
Merry
and
Christmas.
I do have my beer here. This is the fifth beer that I've had. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This is maybe my second one tonight. No, yeah, exactly. I was thinking it's not November yet. Um, so happy Mother's Day. I love you so much, and you're just awesome person. And Gabe had this good idea, so I say one. Let's see. I mean, the first thing to start off with is really just, I don't know why, but I think this is an important one. Just how interested you always were in us and our friends. And I think of any parent of any of our friends that I knew, I think you just had such a engaged personality and you really seemed to care. And I know for me that meant a lot growing up. And I mean, you're a strong personality for sure. But I see that too with myself and my own kids. And I think in the end, that's a great quality. Even if it seems overbearing, when you're young. Um, and I think that way about my kids. That's how I give myself leeway, is I see how well I turned out. No, but no, seriously, I mean, it's hard to not be together. And I've felt really not bad. I haven't ever really felt bad, but I was aware that, gosh, like moving over here and not being close by and stuff. Thankfully, there's all these ways to communicate. But I think that engagement you always had with, I don't know, I think of Drew as a good friend of mine who you always cared to chat with as well, or the Nolan kids or Rachel Miller, how you kind of were like a mentor to her. And I just don't think we can underestimate the impact you've had on people's lives. I mean, of course, like on me, I can speak for myself. And so
I'm gonna,
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna, I'm
think
gonna
just that general thing.
we'll call
Yeah.
this the mom interviews friends story. And this is great because it wasn't on my list, but yeah, Rich Menti and Tim Snyder, I think, were the all-time. Uh, uh, well, who would be the all-time? You mentioned Rachel and Drew, but I would say some of my friends couldn't handle it. They were like, "Why am I getting asked about my life?" And I just came by the house. But Rich Menti and Tim Snyder and Grant, I think Grant would talk about you talk about going over and being, coming in and being like excited to talk about, because, and that's actually a really sweet part because Grant didn't really have his mom in his life out here. And then his dad was just, we all thought his dad was overbearing. But so for Grant to come over, he would kind of prepare in his mind to like update you on his life. So that's a sweet one. The mom interviews the friends.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it was always fun to have, like, I remember when we had the party, hey buddy, hey, come over and say happy birthday after you do your pull-ups. Okay, not happy birthday, say that again.
Hey,
It's
Vincent.
Mother's Day, and so Gabe and I are doing a happy Mother's Day
How's it
for
going?
our mom. Yeah, so you can say happy
Hey,
Mother's
Vincent,
Day, Grandma.
give your mom a hug for me for Mother's Day, will you?
Happy Mother's Day, Grandma.
Oh yeah, dude. He can't hear you because I have it on
Oh
the
yeah.
headphones. Here, listen to Gabe.
Hey,
Yeah.
Vincent, will you give your mom a hug for me for Mother's Day, will you?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, yeah. Tell her big love from California.
Okay.
Cool, man. You want to bet soon? Can you get two in there? Yeah, nice. Yeah, that was like having the party when I think when you guys were about to move out, or maybe it wasn't moving out yet, but we had a gathering at your place in the Arboretum, which was such an awesome location. I'm so glad you lived there for a little bit. And having a bunch of friends come in, and I remember even, I don't know, Suzanne Dale or Susan Rhodes or different old friends of ours being there, and how they would interact with you, and just yeah. So that's a wonderful trait you have. I just feel so blessed that I was able to experience it. So thank you.
Speaking of parties, I thought you were going to talk about the time. I think it might have been me, but it might have been you. Whatever it was, mom and dad would go out Friday or Saturday night for dinner with friends, and we would be a pre-party house. And one time, mom and dad came home early, and I think it was like 20 of my friends in the house. And as soon as they showed up, mom and dad showed up, the people just scattered. They just ran because the parents were home. And I remember mom and dad being
Oh my
like,
gosh.
"Hey, I want to meet people. why is everybody leaving?" So just a good open
That's
social vibe. I'll jump
that
to the
is
next one though, so
hilarious.
we don't make this too long. I
Yeah.
want to just, mine's in sort of chronological order, and I don't have memories of this. I just have pictures. But man, how cool was it that mom, you had me do art shows or let me do art shows, and just seeing pictures of me with stapled sculptures and paper all put together and my outfits and just the freedom of expression. I think that was just a really cool thing, and it gives me a lot of really great memories of growing up and being creative.
Wow, how come I never did any of that? That's why you were the artist, man. Gee whiz. I was just like doing chores around the house, like making sure how spick and span dusting. I mean, I'm really struck, and I don't know if this is just my personality. I guess it must be my personality, but the chores in the house. Wow, what a brilliant approach to having a household run. And boy, did I see! I feel like I took it pretty seriously. Like I remember the dusting and other chores that we would need to do that had on the list. And I don't know, I can't seem to get my kids to do anything more than do the dishes, and the dishes I have to help them. I have to offer to. I'm like, come do the dishes and I'll help you. And I pretty much always have to help them. And that's the only chair. That's the only chore that they do in this house. And I don't, they're good kids, but somehow you manage to run a pretty tight ship there with the house. And I thought it was really great. I also think how you valued having us have dinner together. You really thought that was an important thing, and not watching TV. And boy, do I watch a lot of TV when I'm eating dinner with my kids now. It's really terrible.
Oh no,
But
Shay,
it's
that's not a story.
oh,
That's
I
a story
do. I
about growing
know.
up.
I know. And so, but no, I think that you know, you really had some good structure and you know, and I think you continue to do that. You know, ask questions about what kind of you know, rituals we have or what holidays we celebrate, and just emphasizing that. And I think it's important because you know, a lot of times you know, the U.S. has so many different cultures in it that it's easy to kind of melt into just a generic kind of thing. And so yeah, I think that's something that I'll always carry with me. And I think probably the older I get, the more aware of that stuff I am. So
Well, you
I
brought
don't
up
know
two
that I'll
good
do an
ones.
egg tree every year, but
That's a great one. So the egg tree, what I think is great about that is not just it was a unique thing, although we found out that there's no history of it anywhere else except for the Smith-Mott lineage, because Bridget sent that email and said that she had seen these egg trees in Germany. So perhaps it came from that lineage. But it was always cool because it made a build up to the holiday, you know, where for the month before Easter, we would start to make scrambled eggs and poke the holes in each side
oh
and
yeah.
save the eggshells for what, you know, a month or something. And I remember just like all the nuances of learning, like poke the small hole in the air side, the bigger hole in the yolk side, and learning all that stuff. But also the chores. Well, let's throw out the sitting on the fruit bowl one, but I'll skip past that one. But the chores, uh, the chores, I think it was brilliant. I think what mom and dad did is they had this list where we equally fill out, take turns, and at some point we resisted as kids a little bit, and so they said, okay, as long as you got, like, you can do clean your room as one of yours, as if mom and dad were going to clean the room, but like let us dominate all the table settings as long as we did one dinner, you know, per week. So I think there's like this negotiation that they masterminded to get us to do the chores. But that was great. I mean, the fact that like I was able to go to college and tell friends like I knew how to cook, and literally I think very rarely did I meet any other kids who had ever cooked a dinner for their family.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
Cleaning
see.
houses for Atari.
You wanna do another one?
Cleaning houses for Atari, or cleaning our house for Atari. Uh, we wanted the Atari, and
Oh.
it's like, so how did they mix this? How did they do the family chores grid, and then also figure out how we could get paid? Because it was some summer, we must have been like 12, or I was probably, I don't know, in that age. We could figure out when Atari came out, but I think we raised like $300 to buy the Atari, you know, and that was a cool
Wow.
thing. Like, and then, you know,
That's a
mom
good
never
one.
thought we dusted well enough, and it might have, yeah, dusting is a tricky thing. When I moved into my room here, I literally, the outdoor of the windows hasn't been cleaned in its ever. And so I spent almost a half a day spraying down. And you can kind of get very OCD with dusting in the corners, and maybe that's something that happens.
That's our German roots, man. Yeah, wow. Well, I would say another interesting story. Well, not so much a story, but just what's kind of a story and attribute. You know, I think you're so creative, and you never give yourself credit for that. I don't understand. You know, you're massively creative, and for some reason, you sometimes talk yourself down on that. But it shows up a lot of times also when you mix it with your social stuff, like you have parties, whether it's like a election party or it's a plant party. You know, everyone brings a plant and they make a garden out of plants, so everybody brings one. Or a job party. I think
Forget
you were looking for
the
work one
job party. I
time. You had a
remember.
job party.
I forget the plant party.
Or Thanksgivings, or or what you did for your anniversary at No Way Jose and everything. I just think you throw great parties. You have great friends. It's always fun, and it's always really creative and imaginative and engaging. And not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot. I don't know. I haven't met many people that can do it like you're able to.
what's a good story of mom and dad or mom in particular, because since it's Mother's Day, like disciplining you? Like I remember you got busted for shoplifting. Do you recall
Yeah,
the rules in
wow.
that?
Gosh,
I guess we can't
first
play
of
this
all,
for
I
the
would
kids
say,
anymore,
I
huh?
think, what's that?
I said we can't play this video for the kids anymore, huh?
Oh no, I tell them everything, man. I'm like an open book as much as I can be. I try to be. Um, yeah, obviously that was a big one, but that's it was such a, um,
You don't remember, like, what about when you
yeah,
snuck out and Rachel Miller's parents were over and
yeah.
they told our parents to be easier on you because not to
Oh,
clamp down but to ease up? Like, you don't recall like any disciplinary moments and like what their philosophy was? Or
well, I do. That would be the one. I mean, that's like the one that's kind of in my face. Of course, well, you've already given me the thread there. So, but I guess the way that I would see it is like, and this I see myself in this a lot as well, but pretty tough, when we were younger. I mean, I definitely would say I could scare you, if you were mad, or like if you're coming home from work,
when the mom
like,
was
oh
mad, that's
boy, I
bad.
better I better clean up the stuff because I know mom's gonna not be happy if there's things laying around, or the things we would leave on the staircase, not to pick them up and carry them upstairs and all that kind of stuff. But
Now, did
but
she actually feel the
yeah.
temperature of the TV? Was that a story we made up, or like
Oh,
did she come home and feel
I
the
don't know about
TV?
that.
Did you do that,
Did
mom?
we have an? Was it? Yeah, that's a good one.
We had all
And
these
we had an
rules, like
hour,
hour
right?
television or just
Was it an
weekends,
hour?
and it
Okay, yeah,
changed.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, definitely that time I got in trouble, and the just the elevated way you approach that, like having me write a letter to myself, or
Is that what it
just
was?
interesting. Yeah, I had to write a letter to myself, like what I learned, or type of thing. And so yeah, pretty. But I did get grounded. I remember Locke Bradley didn't get grounded, and he was out playing and picking his wallet up or something, and I was grounded for a week, I think. So I still got in trouble. But I always felt like you really. It's hard as a parent because you're kind of like elevating up to like being the parent, and you're the authoritarian, and then you're kind of coming down to being friend. It goes back and forth, so it can be kind of confusing. But I think in general, I really like that you tried to, you know, just get to know me. And even though you'd say, it was always weird, after going to college, and how you'd say, well, I don't know if I know you, that kind of thing. And I've mentioned this to you before, but I really feel like you know me pretty well. And
You know me or
I
mom?
feel like, well, I'm talking about mom. I'm talking to mom
You
right now.
okay?
Yeah. 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 She knows me, she knows me pretty well. And I think, the most important thing is I know she's got my back 100%. Like anything I go through, I know she's got my back, and she may challenge me. She may, poke away at me. She may be repetitive, at times, bring up the same advice, But in general, I know your heart, mom, is totally in the right place, and I so like that you do that. In general, even though, and I don't disingenuously try to say, things to sort of discard what you're saying. I really do. I think internalize it. I respect what you think a lot, and whether for better or for worse, 2 out of 3 times I'm going to agree with you. Probably end up doing whatever it is you said. So
Well,
anyway, I really appreciate that. And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll tell the cooking story. So I took, not just was it like the family chores, but I got signed up. I guess I wonder how it happened, because I ended up taking a cooking class at Laurelhurst Community Center, and it was about 5 of us, and I was the only boy. And I remember some friends, or just some self-consciousness around that. And I don't know if you said anything, mom, or just the support of it, but like, I loved that class, and I learned to make German pancakes. And the story, Shay, where you're in this, is I kind of remember this, but also just stories of it, where I began to experiment. Once I knew how to bake, I began to experiment in the kitchen and made a strawberry cake with Chex cereal, where it was loosely based off of some recipe. And you were had a very hard time with the fact that I was not on the directions of the box for the cake. And, you know, it turned out kind of crappy anyway. But anyway, Mom, I loved that freedom, you know, to experiment. And I turned out to be a pretty good cook.
Yeah, I would say work-wise, wow. I mean, impressive person, Mom. I mean, the fact that you transitioned into work when we were. I'm gonna get my battery charged here.
I remember
and
being
the kinds of
impressed
jobs.
when mom told us that she made 6 figures. It blew my mind. And there was one year where she made that doing sales, I think. And a very close second was the fact that she had Kenny Easley as a client.
Oh yeah, that's right, Kenny Easley. Wow. Yeah, having an 18-wheeler license, that's something I like telling my kids, that they have a grandmother that could drive an 18-wheeler truck.
That is pretty dope.
That is pretty cool. And
going through the garbages at Kenworth and picking out brand new truck toys that they just threw away.
And I mean, getting up early and going to the printing thing, like at 4 a.m, 3 a.m, when you worked in printing, I just was so impressed with you that you have the gumption to do that. And I know that when you're working and you need, you're taking care of things and stuff, that's just normal. You just do it. But still, that was really, really nice that you supported us that way, and that you were pushing the grindstone for our family, wearing the pants, dad doc doing his social work, making the world a better place, and you having to bring in the dough.
Yeah, for Father's Day, we'll say something nice about you, Dad.
But yeah, I mean, the work stuff, I just think, I always think of you, Mom, as maybe you think of your dad this way or something, but I always think, you carry yourself so well, and you could be the chairwoman of any committee out there, and any, you conduct yourself really awesome. And I think that's a good role model for me, maybe, to just aspire to be somebody who can carry themselves professionally, and, and it's not you're not faking it. It's sort of got substance beneath it, and there's, you're a really capable person. So yeah.
Well, I've got two more stories.
Yeah.
I've got 2 more stories, and one is emotional support story. The other is one of my funnest times. I'll do the funnest time memory, or one of them, and it comes to mind because we're watching, I'm sure you are, both of you, the Michael Jordan Last Dance series, which is the biggest sporting event in quarantine. And there is a point where they review the year that Michael Jordan won his first NBA Finals championship, and the team he played was Phoenix. Now, it would have been Seattle if Seattle had won Game 7 in '93. And so Mom comes down. It's the summer before my senior year. And Mom comes down. I don't know where Dad was, but we decided to take a trip to the wine country in Napa. And first of all, like, what a treat. We got to do mud baths, and it laid a foundation of me feeling like I knew anything about wine. Like, we got to these wine tastings where they had it was in the the deep in the barrel basement, whatever those things are called, the warehouse of all the wines, and we separated out alcohol and tannins, and to learn the tasting, to the spectrum of the palate. And so what a kick to learn about wine and do the whole Calistoga Napa thing. But during that time, the Sonics are playing the Suns in these games that are so crucial that literally could determine if the Sonics with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp would go to the finals or not. And I remember feeling like a little nervous of like, Mom, I know we have this spa thing, but like, can we watch this game? And Mom, I remember you were just so gung-ho and cool, going like, you must recognize my passion because the story could have gone the other way. But we watched one of the games in a bar. We just went to the bar and watched the game, and another one in the hotel room. And maybe you, I don't know what you were doing, maybe you watched with me, but like that was, what a great trip.
Cool.
And we know the whole wine thing, but the fact that like the Sonics and what was happening with, with that, we got to kind of like, and the fact that you respected my passion for that. So that was just a great time. And we should have
That's
won.
awesome.
The Reds.
Oh, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, the classic combo of all time, man. Yeah, I would say family. I mean, I think, Mom, you know, whether it be, you know, how you manage to keep your relationship with your sister, even though sometimes, you know, Terry, I didn't do so well with that, but you really, you know, I think demonstrated the value of family and how you approached your siblings, and kind of always acting like you're not gonna be into getting people together, but then yet you also end up being one of the key people that helps draw people together. And I think that's rippled through the whole family. You know, cousin David, even cousin Mia, kind of the way you help to do that. And I think also, of course, with our own family, you know, how you've approached the last year or two. It's been a hard year for me a little bit, and I was so nervous about talking to you about all this stuff, and you know, I kind of didn't handle it exactly great, you know, on my part. But I think in the end, you've just been amazing and such a supportive family for me and everybody. And so yeah, awesome. Not like you're the rock or anything. It's not like you're the only person that's holding it all together. I definitely think I value family too, and um, but I really think that's just something that is something you've carried through from your own upbringing, and and I think it's something hopefully I'll pass down to my kids too. You know, I think that's a really great thing, the strength of family you've brought. So
Yeah,
thanks for that.
mom, the value in every person having, equal value, and the fact that, mom would ask questions of everybody to kind of like say, what are you about? Is it shining a light on each person's possibility and potential? I mean, so many stories of like you said, like social gatherings and community, stories of Shy Beach, and mom and dad run around naked and embarrassing us. Just so funny. But my last story is after I had graduated from college. It was such a rich time, and I have friends now who are 22, 25 in that range, and I talk to them, and it's so intense, the feeling of like how the choice you make at 22 years old feels like it's the end of the world or the beginning of the world. And it's just really heavy. And I remember sitting at the dinner table, Shay, you were gone and dad was gone, and it was just me and mom. And I remember just feeling like the weight of the world, and just, it was scary. And it was all of these things I just didn't, know how to feel. And mom, at some point, she could tell I was got to break down crying, and mom said, come here, come here, come here. And she just, I'm 22 years old, I'm a grown man. And mom held me on her lap, and I just sobbed, and so what a sweet, memory that is, that mom, you were there for me at a time when I just felt overwhelmed by the world, so I love you, mom, and happy Mother's Day.
Yes, so maybe I'll finish with just acknowledging your leadership as a woman, and how with League of Women Voters, and just how you're not kind of being stereotyped, and I think your work, and I remember, there's some wacky people in the world, and I'm sure you had to come up with your share of men that were being dorks, not cool, or even women and so forth. But I know, we live in the world now where we see people being disrespectful towards, towards women, be it, part of the election stuff cycle and all that kind of thing. But I think this idea of a straight line trajectory where, women's rights is sort of the thing that you help to break through, and suddenly everything's fine and everybody the next few generations lives in this equal society. Obviously that doesn't work. But I will say, definitely with my daughters, I definitely am all talking business with them, and, going the extra mile to make sure they know that we live in an equal family, and that when they get out there, they can assert themselves with people, and they don't have to sort of, be fitted into a box and stuff. And I think so that quality that you got through, even though it's depressing sometimes to look at what's happening with the world and in America or whatever, I think still there's a lot of retained stuff that continues. So that's really awesome. And so yeah, I know you said in the call with Gabe that you know I don't know if I'm supposed to divulge the scores that you gave in your ratings of your feeling about your life, and that you weren't putting yourself high on the rating scale in terms of your happiness right now. And I don't know what's going on with that. I'm not quite sure exactly, because every time I talk to you, I feel like you're engaging and stuff's going on. And I know you're able to create, you're such a you can just create sort of interesting things for yourself. So I would just challenge you to kind of fix that. I don't know, because I think that you're such a wonderful person that you definitely shouldn't be going through your days not feeling good. And I know that the money stuff stresses you out, and I know that you've taken on a huge burden with Gabe and I in our later aging stuff around our professions or our money or whatever. But don't worry. I mean, you've done everything that you've had to do, and I'm feeling like for myself, like I feel good and strong, and I hope that you can just go to bed at night and get good rest, and feel good. So that's really important. And,
Well, I'm sure that if we just tell mom to relax and chill out, that'll take care of it.
I don't know. You never know. It might. But yeah, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Looking forward to seeing you soon. I hope you're making the most of quarantine, learning several languages, maybe the guitar, trombone, and I'll see you soon, I hope.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And I'm looking forward. I caught wind that there was some pseudo celebrity that is sending you a Mother's Day message. So love you. And well, I'm sure we'll talk to you today.
Bye.
All right. So I'll stop the recording.